morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. Today is Wednesday, February 6th, 2019, and it's time for our monthly dining services call-in program. Normally we would be here with Executive Chef Michael Ritt. He's still recovering from a knee replacement, but we have Mary Smith, our registered dietitian, here with us.
Yay.
To take his place easily.
Yes.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you here. You have news for us. Tell us what it is.
I do. So we have some, as I like to refer to, housekeeping things to just go over. But yes, of course, Michael is still recovering from his knee replacement surgery. I did see him recently. He was able to attend the staff party, the holiday party, and he looked great. And
we've had some sightings.
We have some sightings, yes. I just want to say that he's actually doing therapy with our therapist at Green Spring. So if you see him, you should say hi. But on top of that, if you've also been a resident here who's had to do therapy, he now can understand on a deeper level of what our residents go through when they are recovering from a surgery. So that's good.
And he hopes to be back in, I think, another month or so.
Yes, I think the beginning of March would be ideal for him. I don't know what his doctors are thinking, though. But, you know.
Not to be confused with what he's thinking.
Not to be confused with what's actually going to happen.
Right.
So, all right.
So what's happening in the world of dining services?
So I'm wearing red today because we have Valentine's Day coming up, but February is also National Heart Health Month, so we're just going to be going over some fun things. But of course, Valentine's Day is first. So today is the last day to order anything from the Clement's Pastry Shop. They have amazing desserts. I know last year, I don't know if you remember this, last year on Valentine's Day, we actually sampled them on this show.
Oh, that's right.
And they were so good. So today is the last day to go order those, and then you pick them up February 13th and actually on Valentine's Day as well. And then there's additional information on that at the Village Bridge and the bulletin boards and also in the stores.
Lots of good things to eat.
Lots of good, always. Right. Like Michael says, since he's not here, we still have to plug some of his quotes,
we do.
Which is, no one ever goes hungry by choice at Green Spring.
Right.
So the other thing coming up Valentine's Day related is that we are selling Valentine's Day roses in stores, so in our community stores only, the 12th, the 13th, and the 14th. And so you can, well, we're talking about it here. But
and those you don't have to reserve, you can just go there.
Correct. You don't have to reserve them. They're not food, but everyone still enjoys getting a good, pretty flower, right?
Sure.
So, yeah,
good idea.
Things like that. Other things, so Woodland Skies has its town meeting tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and that's going to be in Village Square.
Right.
That's where Woodland Skies is. So that's coming up. So if anyone wants to go to that, ask questions and learn more about what's going on there.
If you're a Woodland Skies patron, now's the time to go and ask your questions.
Now's the time to go.
Right. Speaking of asking questions, if you have questions for Mary or me, you can call us here at 703-663-3333. Excuse me, that was a good, I'd forgotten to put that in.
I'm glad that you remembered, because I would have kept talking and talking, and no one else would be able to say anything. So, so Woodland Skies for questions.
Skies Town Hall.
And then we also have the Green Spring Executive Team Mix and Mingle.
And that will be when?
The February 12th on Tuesday in the Village Square Actink Room from 1 to 2 p.m.
And light appetizers and wine will be served, I see here on the calendar.
It's the mix and mingle, gotta.
There you go.
Keep everybody interested.
A good time to meet with our executive team.
Yes, good time. And then, even though Valentine's Day is obviously February 14th, there's still going to be later celebrations. So on February 19th, most of the independent living lobbies, and when I say most, I mean all of them, will be having special treats February 19th. Okay. And you can figure out what time specifically by visiting your lobby that you go to. Oh, they actually just posted it. So special treats. If you're really smart and can walk fast, you can go to all of them.
And plan ahead.
Plan ahead. Your day. Right before we talk about heart health, let me just joke and say, go get all of the special treats at every single lobby. So, but yes, that's something fun to do as well.
And I see here on the calendar we are going to have special Valentine's Day menus on the 14th.
Yes, that's correct.
That'll be exciting
too. It'll be good. I know what Garden Ridge's menu is, but I don't know what all the different facilities is. But if it's like Garden Ridge, let me tell you, don't make restaurant reservations out of Green Spring. Stay here.
It's going to be wonderful.
It's going to be yummy.
Good.
Absolutely.
That's great. All right. And on the 23rd, Do you have a note about the 23rd?
Yes, I do. So February 23rd, which is a Saturday, there are going to be modified operation hours for our dining facilities. So we had the over 21 staff party this past January, but now we're having the under 21 staff party. So a lot of times these are more of our dining servers in our facilities. So we want to, do something special for them. So with that, they're going to have different hours so that our team members can go enjoy a special night. So those times are just shown, and of course you'll also get those times on the bulletin boards, village.
And there's
Village
already
Bridge.
been a handout in our cubbies for
Correct,
that.
handout, and oftentimes they'll post even on the podiums like alter a change in hours,
Right.
so that there are no surprises for anybody.
Right,
But,
just a little bit earlier.
yep, and again it's February 23rd, so we have time to plan.
Yes,
So.
right, that's good. This is one that was rescheduled because of some snow
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago.
And hopefully it actually happens February 23rd. Like last
I think it was
year.
last year, it was 3 or 4 times that it took them to finally get around to having
Last
their
year,
party.
it was supposed to happen in January. I think it ended up happening in April
Yes.
because of all the weather and then like the flu going around. So
It was a long time, yes.
long time.
Right.
A long time.
So one other thing that we want to talk about, and everybody noticed it when that schedule came out,
Yeah.
was that, oh my, it said the 23rd and it mentioned the Potomac Cafe,
Oh,
which
yes.
we all thought was going to close on the 15th, and we'll explain what happened with that. As usual, Fairfax County became a little bit of a problem for us when the closing of the Potomac Cafe and some of our other facilities was announced last week. Our leadership, our dining services leadership, thought, we're going to be ready to go here. We're going to have these permits, and we'll close the cafe down, and we'll finally get started on this project. And then Friday, Brad Andrus, our associate executive director, learned, nope, not so much. That's probably not going to happen. So the cafe is remaining open for the time being until we get these permits going, and it will be announced at some point in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later, exactly when this construction will be starting. So everybody just hang loose, go forward as we are, and we'll all be flexible.
yes. And as part of the dining team, I will say that any information we get, we will share it immediately.
Oh, of course.
So that no one all of a sudden shows up to have lunch at Potomac Cafe one day and it's closed.
Right.
Like we'll make sure that everyone is up to date
Yes.
and knows when things are actually
Yes,
going to
we're
start
not
happening.
going to slam the door and say, oh,
Absolutely
sorry,
not.
didn't we tell you? We're going to put it out in a variety of places, in a variety of ways.
Yeah, so it's more of a stay tuned. We'll figure it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
We'll see when Fairfax County lets us get some stuff done.
That's
so.
right. Yes, we don't have any control over Fairfax County.
That's correct.
Right.
That's good.
So what would you like to talk about today? We have stuff here.
We have so much stuff.
Food.
But before I forget, there is one thing that I really, really want to mention. I just remembered it, which is when we were talking about how the underage party kept being moved back because of the flu and the cold going around. Something really, really simple and easy for every resident to do, every staff member to do, is wash your hands before meals.
Excellent idea.
Wash your hands as much as you can, whether it's hand sanitizer or just soap and water. There's no bad way to do it.
Most of our venues have a Purell dispenser on the
Correct.
way in. Stop and do that on your way in, and be careful about touching the handles of your chairs as much as you can. I try to pull a chair out with my foot and push it in with my rear end, just to avoid touching as many surfaces as I can.
Yes, yeah. but-
We have one telephone call.
Okay.
Caller, may we have your question, please?
I can see you talking, Susan, but I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Now I hear you.
Okay, that's good.
I have a question about my nutrition. It says one corn muffin is 500 calories, and I've forgotten how much fat.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I can't weigh the muffin, so I don't know.
So actually, I have looked into the corn muffin before because I do get that question a lot. I will say that I'm 99.9% sure that is incorrect, and that the serving size was probably entered in incorrectly on my nutrition, which happens a lot, unfortunately, because we are all human. But because you called, I can make sure that we fix that. I'm very confident that 500 calories is actually 2 muffins. because
Oh.
one muffin, if I remember correctly, is 250. So with that information, if you want to divide everything by 2 to figure out what's
Boy,
one
that's
muffin.
a relief. Our muffins are
Exactly.
wonderful.
Those muffins are
Our
so
muffins
good.
are pretty high in sugar, and they are pretty high in fat. They're kind of a treat.
They are.
They're kind of closer to a cookie than they are a bread product.
They are.
But it's good to know. When she said 500, I thought, oh no.
I know.
But
yeah.
that's good to know that they are not 500 calories.
That's correct.
And that you will be working with the
I
folks
will
that
let
do the
them know.
input into My Nutrition.
So thank you for that call, because
Yes.
I probably would not have caught that.
Thanks for the
without
reminder.
you.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
So we were talking about hand washing.
Yes, hand washing and how that's just so important all the time, but definitely right now when cold is going around so much.
And one thing that I do, and I've said this here before, is that when I come back into my apartment each time, I go directly to the kitchen sink and wash my hands with hot water and lots of soap for at least a minute, just to try to not bring any germs back into the apartment
Yeah.
that I've picked up in all the things I've touched on the way in.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
really hard.
It is hard, but once you get into the habit of it, it's good. And you won't regret doing it, I can say that. You
That's
may
right.
regret not doing it, but you'll never
That's
regret
true.
doing it.
Yes,
So.
right. Good reminder. Thank you.
Okay, so like I mentioned at the very beginning, February is Heart Health Month.
Right.
I think we've had a lot of, I think we've had some shows on Channel 6 recently about heart health, but it's such an important topic that I don't think you can over discuss it and
Interestingly,
over
the
educate.
Today Show this morning did a whole hour on heart health.
Yeah, because it's a national thing. It is not just something that's going on at Green Spring. It's nationwide. You know, the American Heart Association, like, this is their month to get all this information out there because we're ready for it. We need to
That's
hear
right.
it. So I do want to kind of just go over some things that I think that will be beneficial for residents. So something that I was kind of thinking about actually recently this past week is that heart health is definitely something nutrition-wise as a dietitian you very, very much focus and emphasize on with older adult populations. Whereas like sugar and diabetes, now you're talking about it so much earlier in the lifespan. So you're starting to talk about it with kids. And so I was like, why is it that it's just this main population? And so after some research and actually just kind of thinking about it, it just made sense that challenges with your heart build up over time because plaque builds up over time. But they're actually finding now that at the age, like teenagers are now having, when they do autopsies of somebody who passed away too soon, they're finding that there actually are very small buildups already in the heart, but by the time you're an older adult, so over the age of 50, it's becoming more and more prominent, which is now why we emphasize it so much when you're an older adult, but now we're starting to talk about it with even younger populations to prevent this from happening once you get older. So
all this, when we say, oh, you're a kid, you can eat anything.
And now it's kind
that
of like,
really is not the case.
Reel it in, yeah. So I actually do have a picture. It was just shown. If we could pull that back up, that would be wonderful. So what exactly happens in the heart? Like, why does heart health matter? So if you look at this picture, you can see the top one is kind of how things happen naturally. If ever in an ideal world of what's happening, if we have this perfect diet and perfect genetics, but you know, no one's perfect. So over time, based off of your genetics, what you eat, smoking, plaque can start to build up, or cholesterol build up in your arteries, and over time it creates almost like a speed bump. So then that can lead to a heart attack, a clot, a rupture, and all these negative health things that we don't want to occur. So that's why heart health is so important, because they do lead to these very large comorbidities. So what can we do?
Very large what? You threw in a big word there.
Comorbidities, like, so things that are not good. I'm trying to think of like a simple layman's term of just health conditions that
are going to make us die more quickly.
There you go. I didn't want to say it, but you said it, and that was a very good way of saying that. So some things that we can control, we can't control our genetics, but we can control if we're smoking. So not smoking really helps your heart. Regular exercise really helps. I know we have a great gym and great trainers on campus that take advantage of it. And then working on stress relief. We can't control stress, but we can kind of try to start paying attention to how to relieve that. But dietary wise is actually, there's so much more we can do.
And that we can control.
And that's why I'm here.
Okay.
So high cholesterol, so we want to do our best to keep cholesterol low. Of course, there's good and bad cholesterol, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. We want to keep our blood pressure as low or even as possible. So trying to have stay away from high blood pressure.
And just the last couple of days, they have announced a new guideline relative to blood pressure, that the ideal blood pressure is now 120/80. It was a little bit higher.
I thought that was always it.
You haven't been watching the news, have you?
Oh, well, I thought that was always it. It was either 120 or 110, right?
It's just been announced 120/80 is the new ideal. I think it was a little bit higher before.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Thanks for educating me.
There you go.
And then, of course, if you have diabetes, keeping that in check is very important for heart health. Also, just kind of
Watch
minimizing
those muffins; they add up.
Muffins, or just added sugar in general. And I did a segment on that a while ago.
Yes.
But keeping mindful of how much added sugar you have, focusing on abdominal obesity. So that's just going to change with your overall diet and exercise. And then they found that the less fruit and vegetables you eat, the more likely you are to have plaque buildup. So we're going to talk about
eat
fruits
those
and vegetables.
fruits and vegetables.
Yes, of course. And then just making sure you're having alcohol in moderation.
Okay.
And regular exercise. So those are some things that we can deep dive into now.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. So nutrition basics for the heart health. Once again, I have a little image for everybody. I do want to always emphasize water over sugary beverages because it's so simple.
I always carry my water with me. I know you do too.
I have my water by my feet here.
It's interesting that that's the largest part of your heart.
Well, we need water for every cell process in our body. And water, it's calorie free, it's cholesterol free, it's sugar free, it's sodium free. There's no bad side effect to water unless you have chronic heart failure. But we're talking in a sense of you don't have that. Keeps things moving, so it's really good. So we also want to focus on whole grains. So you brought some whole grain cereals here. We also have whole grains cereals and sandwiches, bread. Not bread sandwiches.
Yes, we have some whole grain sandwiches.
Whole grain bread,
right?
In our dining rooms, emphasizing fruit and vegetables as well, as always, and then lean protein in our diet. And then whenever we do have dairy, trying to stick towards those low fat, so skim milk, low fat yogurt, low fat cottage cheese, very good for the heart health as well.
The cottage cheese that we serve in our dining rooms is low fat?
I need to check on which ones.
I think it probably is.
They,
I know that the fruits, any canned fruit that we have is always
correct.
not the heavy syrup, the
no
light
syrup. Yeah.
Yes. And I imagine the cottage cheese is also, and I'm sorry I brought it up because I don't know the answer.
It's okay. Well, next month I'll come on with that answer.
Good.
Okay, I'll just make a note. And then focusing on nuts, seeds, and legumes. So nuts.
What is a legume?
A legume is a bean.
A bean.
A bean. We also have seeds here, which I brought some flax seeds as a thing you can buy at a store. You can mix it into, cereals, granola bars, on top of food.
Does it have
oatmeal.
to be in a cooked food, or could it be on a dry cereal?
You could put it in a dry cereal.
In the morning, I have a mixture of shredded wheat and all bran and a few Cheerios. Could I put some flax seed in also?
Absolutely. And it doesn't just have to be flax seeds. It could be chia seeds. It could be sunflower seeds are now coming back and a little bit more popular right now.
Chia seeds, like for a chia pet, like at Christmas time. No. I saw that the other day, and I truly didn't know. I don't mean it to be funny.
I
didn't know.
I thought you were doing that. The chia seeds are those where the green hair grows, on the infomercials. No, that's
not the same chia seed.
No,
okay.
It's not. Chia seeds are edible.
Okay.
Very commonly just sprinkled on top of foods.
Okay.
I personally like to sprinkle it in oatmeal.
Okay.
Just easy to eat and just easy to digest.
Okay.
And then another huge one is going to be eating a low sodium diet. So here, of course, all of our soups are low sodium base, and also in our recipes, salt is never an ingredient. If it's salty, it's because something in that is coming naturally salted.
Yes.
So
and that's important to know.
Yeah, and so for older adults with high blood pressure or any of those other cardiovascular symptoms I mentioned, like the high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, you want to stick to about 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day.
And sodium can add up in a hurry.
It really can.
These I'm always thinking, well, I eat these wonderful high fiber cereals, and I look just on these two, and one of them, this is all bran, has in a serving has 70 grams of sodium, and here we are with the shredded wheat and bran, and there's no sodium.
And I will actually.
So you do have to read the labels.
You do have to label, and I will say that 70 milligrams of sodium is actually pretty good, because then you're going to get to other products that have so much more.
Right.
So just thinking about products at the store, what's going to be lower in sodium? They will say it. They should label it on the packaging,
yes,
if it's low sodium or not. So if you pick up canned vegetables, it should say
See what
low
it
in
says.
sodium, or like held in water, or held in like syrup. You don't want to do the held in syrup one, that's high in sugar. But also here at Greenspring, we do something to help educate our residents so they can make these decisions for themselves when they go into the dining room, which is, of course, My Nutrition, which
yes,
is so amazing that we already had a caller come
yes,
in and that she's using it. That makes me
yes,
so
that's
happy.
Great.
But so My Nutrition, it allows us to control our portion sizes, help us avoid processed foods and saturated fats, and this helps to remind us that of the vegetables and fruits available. And then if you go to the next slide, it'll show you where you can find those specific information. So if you go on to My Nutrition, and if you even scroll down to the bottom after selecting your dining room, if you click Healthy Choice, everything that's left on there after you click Healthy Choice is our products low in sodium, or
so
food
it kind of
items.
filters out the high sodium products.
Absolutely, it filters out the high sodium products, so you're automatically getting more like just taken away, out of sight, out of mind, making your decision
That's
easier.
a good way to put it.
Yeah. And then once again, if you scroll over that, it will then scroll over a meal item. It will show you how much sodium or cholesterol is in there. I mean, you can see the whole entire nutrition label. I've highlighted sodium, but there are other factors there that you can look into for heart health. So sodium, cholesterol, and seeing how much protein you're getting, saturated fats, trans fat, all these things that you do want to keep in mind. Of course, sodium I highlighted because it is one of the most, everyone probably wants to be following this.
Right.
So that is one way to look at it. And then if you go to the next slide, once you select everything, you can see your total for your whole entire meal.
Right.
Once you
It
make
shows
your meal
all of the
selections.
nutrient totals.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you can see everything that's on your plate in a nutrition format of how much sodium, how much cholesterol you're actually getting with the plate you've selected.
Right.
And when I've done this before I go eat lunch, I'll see it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize. And I can go back and then make changes
Yes.
based off of the information that I get. So
It's a terrific tool.
it is a wonderful tool, and if this was not a breakdown enough of how to use it, don't worry. We have quarterly My Nutrition classes that I would love anyone and everyone to attend.
And to get to it on your computer, all you need to do is just type in My Nutrition.
MyNutrition.Erickson, and then select Greenspring.
There you go.
It's easy.
Good deal.
Very, very easy. That being said, what is on our menu that you can select that
On
you
the
know is
Greenspring
good
menu.
for your heart? Yes. So we have fish is always great for heart health because
And all of our dining rooms have a fish dish every day.
every day, and we rotate. So sometimes we'll have salmon, trout, tilapia, cod we had recently, catfish. It's just all these different fishes, which are great because they're lean in protein, and they highlight those unsaturated fats. So the omega-3 is great for your heart because it helps take down the wrong cholesterol and build up the right cholesterol. So that's really good. And I know that when I was a nutrition student, I used to get saturated fats and unsaturated fats really confused. So saturated fats, this is something I helped to remember for myself. I like to think of SAT, like SAT, as like it just kind of sits there in your heart. So you want to avoid that SAT, that sitting, which is more of anything that's a solid at room temperature. So you can think
Saturated fat is going to sit because it's
sit,
solid.
and it'll sit in your arteries, and it'll sit on your plate because it's solid. So it's more of those high-fat cheeses, high-fat milks, so whole milks, and dairy products, butter, margarine, those things. Whereas the omega-3 and unsaturated are more of those healthy oils. So you'll get that in the avocados, actually. But fishes, and also what I mentioned earlier, which is the seeds, which are really good for you, low in saturated fat and high in the unsaturated fats. So help things with your heart and your arteries. So other things on our menu, so we have a black bean burger. We have
which is really good.
Yeah, I know, it's good.
Yeah.
I like them. Whole wheat bread. We try to have a variety of vegetables, and I think now they're starting to, based off of resident responses, trying to have sauce on the side. So then now
Yes.
it's an option. Do you want the sauce or not? Whereas in the past we've had the sauce on top because it does add flavor.
Right.
But now we have more options. And then, not saying
Don't
that you
hesitate to ask.
don't hesitate to ask, but not saying, hey, never have the sauce. But a benefit of also having the sauce on the side is you can tell the team member helping you, can you just put a little on there as
That's right.
opposed to doing a lot. So if you still want that flavor, because if you don't enjoy what you eat, you're not going to be able to keep eating
Right.
it. So there's a common phrase that the best diet to follow is the one that you're going to stick to.
That's
so,
right.
if you're someone that's not going to eat your vegetables because you don't like the taste of it, this is a good option for you of just a little bit, or
Right.
having that control there. So that's really good.
Right.
We also have tofu stir fry, grilled chicken. All of our soups are low sodium, and I'm really excited because I've been talking to some of the chefs, and now we have quinoa and brown rice available in our. I think it's Jefferson. I know Jefferson does it, and I'm gonna get it wrong, but I think it's Woodland Skies also has.
Good.
It's either Woodland Skies or Fireside. Always having brown rice available, which is really great source of plant protein.
Good.
So
Yeah, for a vegetable, they're very high in protein.
yes,
Yes.
quinoa and their starch.
Or for
Quinoa,
grain,
brown
yeah.
rices, and then we have lima beans and Woodland Skies. And so one of the benefits of plant proteins over animal proteins, is that plant protein doesn't have as much cholesterol. So that's going to prevent that plaque buildup in your heart a little bit more than as opposed to an animal product.
Right.
So that's why we're trying right now to kind of fortify our menu with more diversity. And right now that's where you're going to see it starting with the chickpeas, the brown rice, lima beans, and tofu. And so those are great options that I'm really excited about, and I hope that our residents try them and give us feedback, because if we don't know that residents aren't eating it, we're not going to try to keep expanding. So
And again, the importance of, I'm glad you gave me that opening there to fill out those comment cards.
Yes.
Tell us what you like. We just finished a month of going through comment cards, and we had a wonderful, huge list of comments from the Woodland Skies people in terms of the foods they like
yes.
and the foods they want to see again.
And I think Woodland Skies right now has a kale salad, and I want to go eat that.
Go and give it a try.
I need to go give it a try. So that's exciting.
Tell your dining services staff what you like and what you'd like to eat and what you'd like to see again. And that's where
And then
how they plan the menus.
have your friends do it too, because
That's right.
the more we know, the more we
Yes.
see it, the more we'll try.
We're over our time.
Oh,
Let
I
me
talk
give you,
too much.
Let me give you 30 seconds to wind this up and tell us the most important thing you'd like to leave us with.
Oh man, okay. The most important thing, I don't know. It's too hard to choose just one thing. I'll just say that happy Valentine's Day, and just keep trying to find ways to educate yourself, whether it's attending a My Nutrition class, watching these shows, or
read the
labels, or voicing your concerns or desires on the comment cards, because that's how we're going to keep the conversation going.
And we do have comment cards available on the back of the carryout forms also. So there's another way to give your comment.